Welcome everyone to AUCTV. Now, in light of the recent sexual harassment incident, we're very delighted to be joined by AUC's first General Counsel and Chief Compliance Officer, Dr. Sananda Holmes, to tell us more about how AUC protects its students against harassment. Thank you so much, Dr. Sananda, for joining us on AUCTV today.
Thank you for inviting me, Linda, and I'm happy to be here to answer any questions you might have.
Now, let's start first with who does the anti-harassment policy apply to, and who is responsible at AUC for applying it?
So the policy that's called Anti-Harassment and Non-Discrimination Policy applies to students, faculty, and staff on our campus. And frankly, it applies to everyone that comes to our campus and accesses our campus. So it could apply to vendors, it could apply to alumni, it could apply to any visitors that come on our campus. And all of us are responsible for applying the policy because we all have to make sure that this policy is followed by everyone and that it applies to everyone. And my position as a general counsel, it actually is a policy owner. So I'm supposed to ensure that this policy is followed on our campus.
And is it applied on and off campus?
So it applies mostly to on-campus conduct, but if the off-campus conduct has an impact on the learning and the academic environment on campus, then we will look at those cases as well. But the policy is designed mostly to apply to on-campus activities and conduct. For example, there may be a university-sponsored activity that this policy may also apply, which may be off-campus. So it really depends on the circumstances.
What about online?
Sure. If again, I would view the same thing about online is that if the online conduct is affecting how that learning environment on our campus is, then we will investigate the case and see what we can do, what action we can take.
Dr. Sananda, if this policy exists and is applied, how come so many people say that they have had problems and nothing was actually done?
So over the past year or so, we have been extensively working on the policy and seeing and finalizing the process of how we implement this policy. We have obtained certification for our Title IX coordinator from the USA. We have been providing trainings to our faculty and staff on this policy over the past year. We are strengthening our systems, so we are asking anyone who has experienced sexual harassment or discrimination to please come forward and with their complaints, even if they had previously had problems with understanding the policy or with reporting. So we ask everyone to please come forward to file any complaints that they may have had that has not received any response thus far.
Okay, there is what is known as Title IX. Could you please tell us more about it? What is Title IX and what is the role of the Title IX coordinator?
So the Title IX is a U.S. law. It's the Education Amendments Act of 1972, which is a federal law in the U.S. And this law states that no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education programs or activity receiving federal financial assistance. And also the Egyptian laws prohibit discrimination based on sex and sexual harassment and misconduct as well. So we have combined both of these laws to come up with our policy on sexual harassment and non-discrimination. The penalties are heavier in Egypt if the sexual misconduct is between a person of authority and a subordinate, such as a faculty and student, supervisor and supervisee, etc. So you asked me the Title IX coordinator's role. The Title IX coordinator at our university is the point of contact for receiving complaints and working with other university officials to ensure that our campus is safe for everyone. And the Title IX coordinator is not an advocate for the complainant nor the respondent, but it is a neutral party for receiving complaints on behalf of the university.
So Dr. Sananda, speaking about complaints, how can people who get harassed file their complaints in case of discrimination or sexual harassment, for example?
So the university uses advocate system, which is an online complaint management system. And so people can go ahead and access the link and file their complaints directly online. And it is a confidential source so that no one else other than the Title IX coordinator will have access to that system.
So will you investigate all the complaints currently on social media?
So we will give our word that if anyone files a complaint using an online complaint management system, we will investigate them fully. It is very difficult to take statements that's already on the media or in social media and then take action based on that. However, if you file the complaint online in our system, we will investigate it. But please know that depending on the circumstances, however, we may not be able to take any action given may not be able to take any action depending on the circumstances. For example, if the respondent may have left the university, the complaint has been so long ago that there is no way to take any action, then we may not be able to take action, but we will definitely investigate every complaint that comes to the complaint management system.
Will the policy allow the university to cooperate with local authorities in case the accuser is arrested?
Yes, our policy does allow us to cooperate with local authorities if a complaint rises to a criminal conduct. And also Egyptian laws will also dictate how we interact with the local authorities. And there are ways that the local authorities can submit subpoenas to us, so we'll have to cooperate to the extent that we can. But keeping in mind always that we will maintain confidentiality and privacy as much as we're able to do so.
What about reporting the cases to the police? Does the university have the authority to report cases to the police if necessary?
So yes, the university has the authority to report cases that involve criminal conduct with the police. In certain circumstances, we will have a legal duty to report, but again, we will do so with utmost care to the privacy of the people involved and with empathy and compassion to the individuals involved. And again, this is governed by Egyptian law, so whatever the law here allows us to do, we will be able to do it.
And what punishment or sanctions could the accused get under this policy if misconduct is confirmed? And what if the harasser is a non-AUC community member?
So the possible sanctions when a policy violation is found can be from warning to a no contact order to social probation, all the way to suspension and expulsion for students. For faculty and staff, it can be up to termination of the employment with the university. If the respondent is a non-AUCN, then they may be prohibited from entering our campus, or if it's a vendor, we may terminate their contract with the university. So we do have a lot in our toolbox that we can do to implement sanctions when there is a policy violation that we have found.
And will there be a review of past complaints that are claimed to be neglected?
Yes, we can assure you that if anyone files a complaint through this complaint management system, the online system that I just spoke about, we will investigate the case and come back to you. As I mentioned before, depending on the nature of the allegations, depending on the circumstances involved, we will figure out what action can be taken. But definitely, we will investigate every complaint that comes through. I can assure you of that.
Dr. Sananda, what is your advice to any member of the community who's exposed to discrimination or sexual harassment, and what is the first action that he or she should do?
My advice is to first, please get to a safe place and believe that it is not your fault. And go and see our Title IX coordinator to understand what the process is for reporting sexual harassment or discrimination on our campus. Please use the online reporting system, and please come talk to her. There are campus resources as well for support services. There's counseling and wellness center on our campus. So please access those services and please file a complaint. That would be my advice to anyone who has been subject to discrimination or harassment.
And Dr. Sananda, will AUC be taking any new or additional measures this summer or fall?
So we plan to have campus conversations around this topic. We also plan to have broader dialogue in the higher ed community. But for our campus, we plan to have mandatory training of all faculty, staff, and students that we hope to have completed by the end of fall semester. We also are working on restructuring the Title IX office to report to the president. And we are working on raising awareness of with our students in particular, to be able to come and report whenever they feel like they have been sexually harassed or discriminated against. And basically, we really want to work together to have a safe learning and work environment on our campus. Thank you.
So much, Dr. Sananda. Dr. Sananda Holmes, AUC's first General Counsel and Chief Compliance Officer. Thank you so much for joining us today in AUC TV.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for inviting me.